I guess we can't because he's inside, but it just goes so far. I never even realized.
No question. I reckon it's bigger than right now, for sure.
That's insane. Anyway, standard from Legacy. 3-3 composition. Sombra Goats out from Mindfreak.
Okay, so it's going to be a Sombra Goats versus just a regular Goats. This matchup is all on play, pretty much. We found that, would have found last season it was easy to beat the Sombra Goats with the regular Goats, but maybe things have changed. People, especially Australian teams, have gotten a lot better at playing this Sombra Goats. Lab swaps up to the Ana. We saw him in the first week play this Ana on Kings Row, and he played very, very well, so let's see if he can get a repeat performance from him.
Nush's going to force the translocate out from August, who's up to 30% already, but it might not come up quickly enough to defend this point. One tick already given over to Legacy, and they'll engage the fight. I don't think that Bionade's really connected onto anything, which is unfortunate. Fundray dropped low, but booped away, and looks to be safely healed on back up. Lab now hiding away in the hotel means a lack of heals actually coming out for Legacy at this point, though they are surviving. The Bionade connects onto Swilko, and oh, the Shatter! That certainly connects. Nicely done from Fundray, and well, you can kiss point A goodbye if you're Mindfreak.
Yeah, you could see it coming a mile away. Fundray's shield getting lower and lower. The Earth Shadow just ticks up off the last Fire Strike, and all the stars align, and Bustle is laying on his back, and his team is stunned.
That's got a flat tire.
He definitely did in that fight, but Mindfreak now, they have the EMP and close to an Earth Shadow of their own, so they'll be looking to use that combination very quickly. It's going to be on Legacy to try and avoid getting as many people hit as possible, maybe keeping Barney and Lab out of that, just so they can get the defensive ultimates on to save the fellas. The hack comes in, manual hack, straight onto Fundray. Bus gets slept, so there's no aggression out of here yet. Both teams kind of just fighting back and forward on sleep cooldowns and rallies and all sorts. This is a messy one, actually.
I'm supposed to be pretty happy with this as Legacy, though. It's still payload pushing on forward. Shatter goes down. It's an EMP Shatter combo out from Mindfreak, and that is more than enough to dispatch off Legacy. Good stuff from August, good stuff from Bus, and once again,
Unfortunately,
to the Mindfreak guys.
Rani's rally running out there, so they didn't get the defensive bonus while they were Earth Shattered, and they also didn't get the nano boost because Lab got hit by the EMP, so you know, chalk that one up as a loss as Legacy, and you go next. Maybe use that nano boost onto Fundray this fight into the Graviton Surge, but it's going to be quite difficult. Sombra can set up behind you here on the high ground and get lots of poke damage in.
Graviton Surge thrown in, I think, on both sides there. Addy's the one that goes through second. So Destructor's really not going to do a whole lot either, as Mindfreak are hiding away inside the room. Andre still trying to put some damage in. This is a bit of a crazy fight. Very difficult to tell what's going on from the players' POVs.
They're getting split up very hard here on the side of Mindfreak there. There's got a group of them hiding in this cafe, and there was a group hiding outside. But they've all managed to regroup now, and they have the EMP Shatter combo again. Bus is going to come around this corner and land a huge Shatter if August can get in position. And here it comes.
There it is indeed, as you say. There's the Shatter. Well, it looks like we've been invested, and 2 kills go across the way of Mindfreak. Another solid defense that lasted a while, that fight. That could be finished off as well. It's nice with Bus. But pretty expensive one for Mindfreak there. Still 3 minutes up for Legacy.
They'll get a big stagger here on Nush, but if you're Legacy, you need to be playing around these fights. Everyone dropping a bit of the bag on Nush, unfortunately. He's going to be staggered out a lot here. Bus misses in charge, but yeah, on the side of Legacy, you need to be playing around these fights. You know that they're going to win the fight, that they have to Shatter and the EMP together, because it's just too hard to play it around it. I mean, you can, if you like have a good high ground base and you just kind of sacrifice your Reinhardt, maybe get a nano boost on him and some external shields, but at the moment they just need to sacrifice that fight and then go into the next with the ult advantage. As it goes, that fight they advance, they use 2 defensive ults there to try and nip through that Shatter combo, but now that they don't have them, they lost the fight. It's harder and harder to take these things down, and this Graviton Surge could be big mag.
Well, Mike certainly was nothing to get too excited about, and that's not how you have a big Graviton Surge at all. Well done from Noosh to eat it. Do not manage to get the player that Bus actually knocked onto the floor with his Earth Shatter, and he will get Fundray though. So it's a 5v5 at the moment. Bust is very low and his shield is not looking too great either. A nice external bubble comes through from Addy, but August down in the meanwhile.
They really want to push the pressure here, Legacy. They smell blood in the water, and Aki's being chased down by Nush, who's been playing okay on this Diva so far. He's very wary of that sleep dart though. Backing an Ana into a corner can lead to one-way sleep station. They're not dealing with the EMPs that well on the side of Legacy, but they managed to scrape a fight win there through good play from Nush, some good positioning as well to be positioned where they couldn't really all be chased down. They couldn't really give Bust the big shatter that he wanted off that EMP as well. So some well played there from Legacy. Now it's going to be hard to get through this third position, this third checkpoint. It's always going to be the hardest one to capture.
Yeah, with only 3 minutes on the clock as well, that's not a huge amount of time, but perhaps a good solid fight win here would do a lot of work. Sound barrier goes down at pretty much the perfect time, but not enough to keep August alive there. Shatter from Fundray, this looks good. Somehow it turns back on its head. Bust gets the kill onto Fundray, Lab dies, they reset by the looks of things. I thought that was perfect for Legacy, but perhaps Bust had other ideas.
It was looking okay but Mindfreak just built those ultimates up and they managed to invest them quickly before the fight ended up being too poorly for them. So now they have a slight window on the side of Legacy where they can get aggressive. Maybe they can build this Diva Ball, maybe they can build this rally and take some aggression here. But Bust has laid him down on the Earth Shatter. A very good Shatter to set that fight up. It probably was set up by a Brigitte Bash, but it looks like Fundray might have disappeared, and that will always help Bust set it up. So maybe Fundray vanished to the nether regions, nether realms, and sets Bust up the big shadow.
I hear you talking about nether regions again.
Yeah, well, probably not the best one to put out there, but that's all right. He disappeared somewhere.
Definitely disappeared somewhere. Well, I guess we were about time for a pause, weren't we? I mean, we had quite a few last week. You weren't here, but that's the first one for today. So better late than never, I suppose. I don't know about that now, though, for Legacy. Having lost that fight, it's probably going to put that timer below 2 minutes to finish off King's Row, and it seems like Mindfreak's kind of getting it together a little bit here into BC.
Well, I mean, the good news is that it's not a bad place to DC. It's right, in a straight line from the spawn room, so it's not the worst, but it's always unfortunate for it to happen. But I mean, Legacy, they managed to get the second point, which is good. It can be quite hard to get that second point sometimes, especially when they get held in that last section of the second point. So for them to get that, that's quite good. As we see the action break out again, and Mindfreak will just clean this fight up. They've managed to build themselves a little bit of an ult bank off that. EMP will be the next available ultimate on the side of Mindfreak, but they don't really have anything to combo it with.
How much ult charge is Fundray at?
I'm not too sure, but if I remember, he used Shatter in the previous fight where he was in the Graviton, so I don't think he had it.
Yeah. Well, the hack is going to be not very fun at all for Legacy. That is a 6-man EMP. Well done from August. Not much to say about it. Fight's over.
Stolen was trying to get into a position to, not get hacked essentially by getting in the window, but August just went fast enough to catch him as he was trying to get into that window to hide. Unfortunately, couldn't get there. So now
Legacy. 20.
Yeah, minute 20 on the clock, and they've got 2 fights to win.
We have a lot of ults for this one, though. But are they going to have enough for 2 fight wins? That's the important thing.
I think it will come down to the execution more than the ults, really. I haven't seen Legacy, even when they have had an ultimate advantage on this King's Row map, it's been really difficult for them to get any sort of fight.
To translocate out, and another boost through onto Bust to boost him on up. There's a barrier thrown in from Stolen. Seems as though either team are particularly keen on fighting, just waiting out both ultimates, but Stolen's caught in the grab and dispatched off by his counterpart. So, Lucio.
Mindfreak seeing the aggression, the rally, the big drop from Legacy, and really just fighting it out. And then now they're able to push in the side of their own speed boost and really punish them. So, I mean, that was an initiation attempt from Legacy, but they just couldn't get close enough to do anything with it. They popped those 2 support ultimates to, sustain through the run through, but they just couldn't get close enough to put any damage into the side. Now August with 86% on his EMP. This could be the nail in the coffin with this Shatter EMP that we've seen all day.
You'd really think for Legacy here that, again, they probably need to win 2 fights. It's going to be very difficult considering the defender's advantage. Well, Graviton Surge does go on through. Self-destruct thrown in as well. The sound barrier will keep Mindfreak all alive. And now EMP is out for Mindfreak and the fight begins in earnest. Bust Kiki to find the first 2 openers as Legacy try to sort of salvage the situation. They try to hang on, but there's just really not enough in the tank for them. Mindfreak have literally run over them in the fight.
There was a small opportunity there. They managed to get their ultimates off before the EMP comes out, but they just didn't get any value off them. Bust throws down the Earth Shatter to try and counter them. They try and, stop the aggression coming out of that Graviton Surge and Diva Bomb combo. So maybe that was their opportunity, their window, getting those ults off, but they just didn't get enough out of them. They used all 3 of those offensive ults. Just nothing nothing taken,
Well,
which means...
it is defendable.
Yeah, it is defendable, but it's difficult to defend. It's in that position where you can only really afford to lose one fight on third, and that's only if you lose it as the checkpoint happens, pretty much. It's quite difficult, but I've seen stranger things happen.
I think they made a TV series about that.
About strange things.
Yeah, I seem to remember something along those lines. I'm not sure.
I'm sure there's something out there for it.
All right. What have we got here for Mindfreak on the attack? Is it going to be the triple DPS?
It is quite popular to break King's Row first point open, just because teams are more likely to play, you know, tank heavy compositions, and you can get that one fight win, but not really something I'd expect out of Mindfreak too much. I think maybe if they were going to do it, they'd do it against a team they didn't feel favoured against. Doing it against a team that you expect to beat can be quite risky.
Do they expect to beat Legacy?
I think at the start of the series, yeah, they would have come in and thought about it.
I would have thought that they would.
You're a smart man, so...
I'd try. I don't know if I would necessarily say that, but...
Looks like they are going to roll out with the DPS composition, so this is going to be interesting. They are running 2 supports though, so it means Spilka has a little bit of an easier task. Doesn't have to worry too much about healing the ball or even the snipers, really.
I think it's going pretty well so far for Mindfreak. They're fairly uncontested in getting into their crossfire positions, and now it's just a case of biding the time, maybe for Addy to open this one up for a pick or break the shields. People go down pretty early though, which is going to mean that Mindfreak really has to reset here.
And that's all off the back of them getting Ike energy. Sorry he was at 40 now, he's just dissipating, but he did a really good job at getting energy off Fundre, and that's something we didn't see happen from Order last series, and that's why they were able to get picked off. But as soon as that Mercy gets a little bit too low, it can be quite easy for Ike to just, you know, dump a load of energy into her and burn her down, and now the fight's over. But so it's going to be the same kind of game plan as well, just getting Ike energy in and really playing off that. Don't feel too pressured to give up 1 or 2 ticks. They've already got a minute off the clock. Andre gets anti-nated. Got a lot of pressure here. Swooper goes down again.
Not so sure how that's happening. I suppose it must be some tags coming across from the Ana to be followed up then by Noosh.
Yeah, it can be quite hard to heal that Mercy as well if you're playing the Ana, just because the Pharaoh will be dragging her into a positions that you can't really see very often, so it can be quite difficult. But the Nano Boost now up on Aki. It'll be interesting to see who he uses that on. Will it be the ball, or will it be the Pharaoh with the EMP Barrage combination coming through?
EMP does connect onto 3. The Barrage, nowhere really nearby. Stolen will get caught by it. Fundre also. So that is going to be the opener that they needed. Self-destruct, just not able to salvage the situation there for Noosh. Going gets real tough now for Legacy. Rani is going to have Rally, which might be able to give them some sticking power in the fight. Perhaps if Ike can build this grab, that might actually salvage it. Lions are going to go down, and it doesn't look like a fun time there for anyone on Legacy. That said, Noosh does manage to chase down Kiki. Who knows where the Mercy was to help him out? The revive will come across, but actually I think Legacy have stabilized just a little bit here. Fundre should have returned by now. Graviton Surge is available, and Mindfreak have just not capitalized on that opportunity at all.
Yeah, if you don't get those follow-up picks, having Rani on the point with Rally means he's very difficult to kill for the side of Mindfreak. He can just hold his shield up. If he doesn't get hacked, you know, there's not a lot that can happen. You know, the Widowmaker doesn't really do much versus him. The Pharah can be quite hard to get rockets past that shield. So Rani's stalling it out there, gets the Diva back, gets the Nano Boost on the Diva, and that's what sets up the fight turn from them. And now they have Beat to deal with, and they have Graviton Surge. They shoot the Graviton Surge into the tree, and they've taken out Bust.
I don't know if they've taken Bust out yet. Rocket Barrage is going to force them away. August gets the D-Mech on Anoush, and a very nice EMP across to 4 members of a Legacy. Mindfreak, well, they had one opportunity, now here's the second. Let's make sure that they take control of it, as they certainly seem to have learned from their mistakes. So we'll cap out point A. It was pretty good, though, from Legacy. That's assault defense. 40 seconds was all that Mindfreak had.
It's a pretty disastrous situation for Mindfreak if you think about it, because they're going to have to swap onto this 3-2-1 composition with the Sombra, and they're not going to have any ultimates to play with. Legacy are going to have, ultimates they can go aggressive with here, especially if they've tracked that they used the EMP last fight. Okay, we can send our Diva Bomb in, we can use our rally to initiate, we can get a free fight win here. If they get a nice fight win really early, they can stall out this point and make it very, very difficult for the side of Mindfreak to get through. There's quite a difficult part of the map to get through. So yeah, they backed off into this choke too. So this is going to be quite difficult for the side of Mindfreak here. They're really going to be waiting for this August EMP. That's kind of like their only win condition here. Barring a mistake from Legacy, this should be quite an easy little hold for a bit of time.
Yeah, a couple of minutes, which is probably a little too much for Mindfreak to deal with, considering 2 minutes 14 on the clock. Mindfreak again, they just have to keep backing away. Shadow will connect as Fundray gets booped away, so follow-up isn't quite what Legacy would have wanted it to be.
And they could get punished on the back here. I mean, August has this EMP bus, only at 50% of the Earth Shadow though. But they did reach a long way, Legacy, to try and build some more.
EMP has finally been built by August, and that is going to open the door for Mindfreak. Are they going to be able to slam it shut onto Legacy? Well, a 1-for-1 trade as both the Reinhardts go down, and now Grab catching all of Legacy inside, and Stolen has no sound barrier to defend against that. It's going to be the end of the fight, surely. Mindfreak will clean this one up, as it does seem to be just the last dregs of Legacy left alive. Lab, Noosh, both eliminated, and Rani finally falls as well on that Brigitte. Payload pushing, but there will certainly be enough time for a contest on to point C. A minute 20 for Mindfreak. We may very shortly be getting into one fight territory.
So unfortunate there for the side of Legacy Esports. They use their rally, they use their nano boots to push forward, but they don't get anything from it. Really well done from Mindfreak just to kite back. They even used their Earth Shatter out of Fundray, but he just doesn't get anything. He really needed to get something there, and they needed to get a fight win, build more ultimates. Now the nano boost comes out into Ike, and they're really under pressure to get something here.
Like they will.
They're just able to run away on the side of Mindfreak, and now they've got the EMP and the Shadow combo to reinitiate with.
Seems to be an unlosable fight, really, for Mindfreak, doesn't it? But we have seen before.
There's good positioning here, only exposing Rani and Fundray, and they're the ones that get Earth Shadow, but Fundray's cut off by the cart. Rani goes down 2, and this will be a fight win for the side of Mindfreak. They have the rally going too to consolidate their HP, and this is a bit of a risky situation for Legacies. They have to contest to the next fight. They will get time to. It's in an awkward position, this cart. 2 minutes on the clock for the side of Mindfreak, as well as Noosh moves on over to the May.
So failing this fight for Legacy with the Graviton Surge and the 2 support ultimates, you probably look at another fight here for Mindfreak with the Shatter and EMP combo that would be so successful for them. Well, Graviton Surge goes through from Legacy, will also be utilized by Addy for Mindfreak, and sound barrier to defend against it for Legacy. Nothing such invested for Mindfreak, just Transcendence. Wilco still hanging on to his sound barrier as both teams look to back away, although Legacy more so on the offensive. Mindfreak definitely the ones that are putting the pedal to the metal. It's in reverse at this point for them, but they do rejoin the fight just as Fundray's shield is going low. There's an opening maybe here for Bust at 94% of that Shadow. What can he do? Having already lost August though, I think it's time for Mindfreak just to settle down a little bit. Take a vacation for a moment.
Very, very handy pick off. Oh, that's a Shadow coming out of Fundray.
It was blocked by Addy.
Going for the glory play, but it doesn't manage to get it. Noosh is now hacked. They have to use the external bubble on him, but it's not enough to keep him alive. Fundray has thrown his team under the bus here, and here comes that said bus. He stays on the map. That's a rare sight, but now he's going to push forward. The EMP is coming through, but it looks like they won't even need it.
No, the Graviton Surge surely going to be enough here. Ike is around the back. Look at that. It's 5 ultimates, 6 ultimates actually in this fight for Mindfreak. The wall is up. It's just blocking the card, it looks like, at the very least, but I don't know that it's going to be enough out here from Legacy. Rani drops early on in the fight. Noosh is EMP'd or hacked up. I'm not sure exactly what happened there. I think it must have been the EMP out from August. Aki, Bast, they're all getting involved in it, and Mindfreak finally are going to lock out the map. It's 2-1 the way of Mindfreak. Series not yet over. We still have at least one more map to play, but comes down to the 100% win rate map of Dorado. 100% win rate map.
Both sides.
And map type, I should say, for both sides, more so. I mean, getting one win on Dorado is not as impressive.
It's so painful to see because I really feel like Legacy had the shoe on their foot there, but they just lost their composure in those 2 key fights. They had the fight on second where they chased with the Earth Shadow, the rally, the nano into the spawn essentially of Mindfreak, where they didn't get much off it. They just got kited away. So that was a big mistake from Legacy, and then this was a big Earth Shadow from Fundre. Another big shadow on this map from this week. And then the second mistake was that shadow at the end by Fundre. And obviously Nush was pushed up very, very far as well, and they were looking for a Hail Mary play, looking for something to just
finish it.
Yeah, finish it off, make it a lot easier. Because I mean, if they get that fight win there, they build a lot of ults and they do make it a lot easier. But it's just so risky, and so I feel like Legacy are only one of those things coming off from winning that map.
Hey, that is a storyline that we have said so many times for Legacy, isn't it? They've been so close in so many instances. This time, one fight win maybe makes the difference. Maybe against Order, one fight win might have made the difference in a series win or a series loss. That might be exactly the case here against Mindfreak. If they win Dorado, lose Busan, well, what would have happened if they would have won King's Row?
Exactly. It's good to see that they keep putting themselves in these positions to win, but it's just so frustrating to see that they don't quite close it out yet. And I mean, we talk about how they are a younger roster and maybe they don't have all the experience that these older rosters do or these older players do, but it is getting to the point where they've had a full season in Contenders. Now they've had a half a Contender season already this season, so they're going to need to start seeing that composure and experience from them.
Yeah, they have the benefit as well of being pretty much an entire core roster, right? You've got 5 out of 6 of the members have come through from last season, where I suppose for a team like Mindfreak, there was 50% of that roster coming through from different places and 50% staying from Mindfreak. Maybe something to be said there. Again, I mean, every time you see Legacy play, you think, look, they seem to be more and more solid. We sort of said the same thing about season 1 of 2019 as well when they came into Contenders, and I don't know, it's just the kind of thing where I look at this Legacy roster and I think, what could happen in a year or a year and a half sort of thing where, you put them into the same kind of scenario as like Serenity into Melbourne Mavericks, into what they ended up being able to achieve and being able to go to IEM last year. Obviously a totally different Melbourne Mavericks roster now, but even a lot of the Melbourne Mavericks players individually have split off into really, really solid teams. The likes of Ground Zero, like we've seen. So, I think that's definitely the long term really for Legacy.
Yeah, I mean, that still looks good. The long term for Legacy still looks pretty good. As long as they can get, some good coaching and they settle down and maybe not make so many heated decisions, then I think they're looking pretty good. I mean, the way they've adapted to this meta, or the slight meta shift, has been quite positive. They've shown that they're not afraid to play different compositions, and that's what you want to see. Yeah. But going into Dorado...
Well, this is where it gets interesting, isn't it?
Certainly is, but we've already seen them play this bunker composition and, with the whole hog and stuff like that on Paris, and they looked really good with it. So I fully expect them to bring it out again, and maybe lab on that Widowmaker like he showed in week 1 can do some damage.
Yep.
If Roro with the Dragon Blade couldn't get through Legacy, then...
Then what can?
What can?
Maybe the Smash Brother.
No, I don't think so. But maybe the Kiki Farah is the key.
Perhaps. 100% win rate for both teams on this map and this map type. So it's not a huge data set to pull from. Only 1 played on Busan, 3 total Escort maps played. But one of those is going to be broken so far.
Someone's going to have to give up a map win.
Someone will continue. 4. In a way,
map.
I kind of hope it's Legacy, because
I want to go to map 5.
It goes to map 5, yes, and that also kind of keeps that 4th map hero sort of storyline for Legacy. So that would be pretty interesting heading into the next few weeks. However, as is true to Australian internet, we have another pause.
Yep, we do have another pause. First few weeks we managed to escape pause free, and then obviously last week getting Ben Green back on the broadcast cursed us.
Cursed us indeed. I'm not surprised. Yeah, it's his fault.
Well, it's not. It's never my fault, really, is it?
Oh
well. But I mean, Dorado.
There's a lot of things that are probably your fault.
Yeah.
Orders season's probably your fault.
I mean,
what? This is the first season you haven't been managing Order?
Yeah, I haven't been with them, so they've fallen to bits. That's
tell me.
Expected, though.
Tell me.
I was the most important part of the team. Anyone can attest to that.
Anyone can attest to it. Literally anyone.
You ask anyone in that team and they'll tell you.
I'm sure any of the Order players that are in chat right now could absolutely attest to
100%.
that, if there was any. I don't know if anyone...
They would never would have come back from China if it wasn't for me.
Really? They would have got lost?
Yep.
You speak a bit of Chinese, help them out?
No, but the one person on the team that did speak Chinese often, you know, said to people that he didn't because he couldn't be bothered speaking Chinese.
Oh.
Shout out to Signed.
I wonder who that was. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, it was Adam. Adam was...
I didn't want to make any assumptions,
it was-
you know,
it was
because it could be
definitely
anyone at that point.
But, no, they're going to sort their own mess out. Not there to clean up after them anymore.
Jeez. Lay it down, Smash Brother.
Yeah,
Get
well,
the hammer out.
They need a good clip around the ears, I reckon.
Yeah. Oh,
Anyway.
well, maybe that's something you can do for them on next week's broadcast when we watch another Order game.
We have to.
Give them a bit of the old 1-2 Smash Brother pow.
Yeah, I'll put them.
Seems like something you could do.
Yeah, well, yeah. Something I had to do time to time. A few boot camps.
Probably got some nightmares from that one. The old boy Adam.
Yeah, no.
Probably a bit scared.
No, Adam was a good boy. He didn't cop it.
Okay.
Hunter,
Who was the worst?
Hunter was definitely the worst to deal with. Holy shit.
Okay. It's a bit of a child, is he?
Yeah. But he's good.
Who was the next worst? Who
Who
was like
who's
Hunter's like little minion, crony?
Signed was Hunter's little minion.
Okay.
Those two acted out together, but no, they were all good. They were pretty all easy to deal with.
All right.
As far as people go, it's good.
There you go. The more you know. We'll get some great insights into the Order roster. Obviously, Legacy and Mindfreak is what we're looking at right now, and we're going to go jumping back into Dorado. And it's a must-win map now for Legacy if they want to keep this series alive.
Yeah, it is, and it's been a great series so far. Mindfreak only just edging it out, taking that last map with a little bit of time remaining on the clock, but if Legacy can settle themselves down here and, you know, get back to what they were doing before.
So you're stolen.
Yeah, stolen's off the map. But I think the Legacy can take this map and we can go to Busan, and that's when the nerves come in. We haven't seen Mindfreak in a nervous situation yet. We haven't seen them in a position where they've been really tested, I guess. It's always been like 4-0s or, you know, 0-4s. So it could open the door for Legacy. They've been in map 5s enough to get some experience on it at least. But it looks like they are going for a 3-3 defense, not the bunker comp. Okay, so this is interesting because when we saw them versus the Warriors, they were looked very strong on that bunker composition.
They did, yeah.
Now they've decided to give it away. Mindfreak will be running the 3-2-1 with Kiki on the Brigitte instead of the Diva. This is very, very curious from the side of Legacy Esports.
Well, Fundray almost gets hacked. August almost goes down. Shield Bash not quite connecting there. Nonetheless, it's a nice Bionade through from Lab, which is going to force Mindfreak back just a little bit.
Yeah, as soon as that Sombra gets pushed out, you saw the aggression on the front line of Legacy, pushing forward and really taking the 5v6 again, advantage that they make for themselves. I mean, Kiki goes back to the spawn room. It looks like a little victory for the side of Legacy early on. You see Lab on the high ground too, he's in a nice position. It's quite hard for their Sombra to 1v1 an Arno, especially because, you know, you can use the nade to break the hack. So Lab actually gets hacked himself. As soon as his Sombra's forced out, you can expect Legacy to go again.
Goes Stolen looking for a boo. The Bionade connects straight into the bubble, but Fundraise Shatter definitely having more of an impact, getting quite a few members on the floor, and Mindfreak are held right at the gates.
Yeah, you saw Stolen in a very nice position there on the high ground, just knocking Bust forward into that corner, and that means Fundraise available to use the Shatter, but it is quite dangerous because if Stolen gets hacked there above the enemy team, you can just drop into them and, you know, just die basically.
Can't do anything, yeah.
August was on the high ground behind him, so he knew that that wasn't going to happen. Manages to get the displacement, and that's a fight win, a cheeky fight win too for the side of Legacy. Very cheeky.
Might be another cheapish one here as well with the Graviton Surge. That is going to lock up a Bust. There's Transcendence from Aki, but I see a Bionade that's connected onto Kiki. Might well have done the same onto August. Whatever the case, 3 players down for Mindfreak, and Legacy still holding at the gates.
It's another fight that only costs them 2 ults. Mindfreak now are coming up on 4. They won't have the Transcendence or... Well, they might get the rally during the fight, but this is good signs for Legacy. They haven't let the cart move at all, and that's 2 minutes off the clock already. It'll be interesting to see if they sacrifice this fight with the EMP, the Shadow, or if they try and fight it.
Well, EMP did go on in, Shadow as well, but and that seems to have been hugely impactful. Legacy posing such a massive defense here, right at the gates of Mindfreak's spawn. Now a Graviton surges through, but Aggie will fall. And Sound Barrier to keep Legacy quite healthy. Fundray went down to about half HP, but he is okay. A hack onto Ike. Again, nothing to be too concerned about right now for Legacy Esports. They still have 6 alive. In fact, has anyone on Legacy even died so far?
I don't think so. That was a very odd interaction there. The EMP Shatter came out, but Andre managed to sidestep it almost. And just did not get hit by it, and then they're able to turn with the Nano Boost onto Fundray himself. Gets a Shatter down and might win.
This is pretty incredible from Legacy.
Yeah.
Said. But it's just going to be really disappointing if they're not able to hold it here. Graviton Surge now through again. Fundray finding the first pick. He gets himself another one with the charge on through to Swilko. It's once again quite a wipe for Mindfreak, but it's getting so close.
Looking very strong at the moment. Rani has the rally up as well, and Lab will have the Nano Boost to use next fight. Mindfreak, they've swapped it up. They've actually changed over to Arcana of themselves. I don't think that's actually the play.
EMP's here for August though.
They can go for the EMP onto the nade, but generally when you don't want to play the Ana when you could be playing the Zenyatta. There's no Sombra on the side of Legacy, so this is very dangerous stuff inside of Mindfreak.
I think this is the fight that Mindfreak may end up being able to push on through. Shadow does connect onto Fundray, who did get nano boosted but charged straight back. That's the first loss for Legacy. It's obviously a 1-for-0 at this point. If the trades do come in quickly for Legacy, maybe it's salvageable, but I think you're going to have to give it up now. For Mindfreak, it's still not that great. They're going to have to push the whole of Phase A in overtime.
They will have to push it, but there should only be one fight opportunity here for Legacy. They're just going to have to take their time and set up. One
fight's all they need.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to have to set up, take their time and set it up. Don't rush into this. You're going to be rushing into a Graviton Surge, a Rally, a Nano, so you've got to be really patient here. Wow. Maybe poke the Stolen's beat. Maybe, you know, take that little extra time to just ensure that you have everything you need to deal with the side of Mindfreak.
That's what I was going to say. I think Legacy have got the tools that they need. Self-destruct, buying some room. Fundray with a Shatter has been pretty on point so far today, and Stolen. This grab comes through. Might have it up in time. In fact, it's actually going to go early from Mindfreak, so Stolen can't keep himself alive, most importantly. Shatter did go down. It's a trade of Shatters, in fact. And what can this self-destruct do? Not enough, I don't think, to salvage the fight here for Legacy. It's definitely looking favourable for Mindfreak, but now a Nano Boost onto Fundray, and that might be the difference. Ike has gotten a 1-for-1. Both the Brigittes down. It's actually a Nano Boost onto Bust as well. He does have a Sound Barrier to help him out. So does Fundray. Mindfreak being pushed back. They're off the cart. Overtime ticks away. And that is not where Mindfreak would have wanted to take their cart at all on Dorado. Not even being able to cap out point A.
No, and it's not even at the end of A. There's still some distance between the checkpoint and the cart. So this is a really, really well done from the side of Legacy Esports. They managed to take out 4 minutes off the clock off that first corner. That's the dream situation. They had a very good spread too. If you saw from a top-down point of view, they had Fundray alone on that corner. Every time there was EMP, he was sitting there alone. He wasn't getting himself into a position where many people would be EMP'd if he was EMP'd. So there was multiple times where Fundray gets EMP'd, but you know, Lab doesn't, or Rani doesn't, or Ike doesn't. So they can use the externals, they can use the Nano Boost to really help him bail him out. So that's what you want to be doing versus these Sombra compositions. Especially if you don't have the big ult like the Transcendence or the Sound Barrier to save your team. Just you know, throw your Reinhardt there, bait him out. They have to hit him with it to get the Earthshatter off, and they just didn't give him any opportunity to do it.
Well, Mindfreak's got to be saying, hey, if Legacy can do it, we can too.
Well, of course, but Legacy are going to throw a spanner in the works. It looks like they are going to go for that Hog Orisa composition on the offense, which is what they did versus the Warriors, except they used a Bastion instead. Interesting to see, because it is a lot harder to do that early hold if you are versing this Hog Orisa, you know, damage dealing composition. It's not really feasible to take that much time off the clock. You kind of need to play that archway, but I don't think Mindfreak are going to be ready for this DPS-based composition coming out straight away. I think they're going to be expecting this 3-3 matchup. And it's interesting, Mindfreak haven't gone for the Sombra as well in the defense. They've gone just for the Diva.
Well, we shall see how this works out for Mindfreak. Cowering away.
Legacy themselves haven't gone for the Sombra either, so playing on the Sombra home map with no Sombra. as Rani looks for an angle here to get in, and he has the information now from that sonic arrow. He can see everybody's positioning.
Caution Blast could be pretty interesting in a situation like this, if he can
I think
dispatch
Kiki's just
Kiki.
fed his mech.
And he has, and he's probably going to feed his life as well. There's no way Kiki gets out of that one alive.
Ike gets another.
Also getting August with a sonic arrow of all things. That is, I mean, that's the map over, isn't it?
It's going to be very difficult for the side of Mindfreak to get in and contest here. They're so
I don't
low
think they
on
can.
ultimates as well. They probably can't. Buster's going over to the Wrecking Ball. He might be able to get a cheeky touch in just because of the way the maps works, but
I don't know.
here he comes.
Yeah, he's just going to get there in time.
But is it going to be enough? Ike with the Dragon Strike gets
Oh,
caught by Kiki.
Kiki will get demected immediately after the fact, but maybe he's done his job. Bust drops early. Maybe he's also done his job by getting the contest. It's just not enough numbers there for Mindfreak, unfortunately, and the numbers that they do have, well, a Soldier, a Tracer, a Baby Diva. It's not going to be what Mindfreak would have envisioned happening on Dorado, but that was certainly a performance by a Legacy, and that is going to confirm us through to Busan at 2 apiece. And once again, another week in a row, Legacy will find themselves in a tiebreaker.
Yeah, and another week in a row, they'd managed to be the kings of Map 4, taking down Mindfreak, making them, I think, the only team undefeated on Escort map type.
That would be, I mean, I could
that's
literally
correct.
tell you right now. Let's have a look. Nope, that's a defeat, that's a defeat, that's a defeat. And
I look like I've called this one correctly for once.
yes, you have.
Excellent.
Yeah. Everyone else is 66% at best.
But, I mean, that's excellent from Legacy. You saw them, they used a different strategy too on the defense. They didn't go in for that bunker composition like I thought they would. They showed us that they can play this 3-3 on the early hold. They're disciplined, they're positioned well, they're using their ultimates correctly, and that's good signs for them, because that means they're not just, these one-trick ponies playing the bunker on these escorts. They're able to play, a more standard composition.
That was so solid. Oh, God. How do you hold for that long? Like, normally that's sort of just a one-fight thing where you take 30 seconds or a minute off the clock and then really set up your proper defense under the bridge or around the fountain. But Legacy pretty much held their entire time right outside the spawn. I almost wish they would have, because that would have been just an absolutely insane... Not that this wasn't an absolutely insane hold, but goodness me, anyway.
It was very well done. Even on the offense, they were pretty disciplined. They raided to get the Sonic in there. They picked them apart. They got the right angles in. They were patient, which is what you need to be if you want to win these games. Watch. So now their patience takes them to Busan.
Yep. If nothing else, Legacy is definitely a patient team. They keep plugging away. Last season, it was much the same. Take a map off of a team here, take a map off a team there, take a tiebreaker against a team somewhere. They haven't had a good conversion rate on those tiebreakers so far, though.
No.
Season 1, they lost to Blank. Season 2, they've lost to Order. Obviously, both 3-2, and now they go against Mindfreak. Can they break the drought? Is it third time lucky here for Legacy? After losing Nepal already to Mindfreak in this series, so that's another control map in the bin for Legacy. And need I remind you, we go back to what we were saying on Nepal, in that Legacy have a 0% win rate on these control maps, of which we've only seen Busan and Nepal so far this season. They've played Busan twice, they've lost Busan twice. Mindfreak have played Busan twice, they've won Busan twice. So it's not looking good for Legacy going into this final
The
map.
chips are certainly stacked against them, but that's that's probably where you want to be if you're Legacy. You want to be these underdogs. You sell this underdog story, and I'd love to say that they're going to take this Busan, but stats don't really lie, do they?
No, they do not. I've also been told an interesting little tidbit of information here. Ike's actually had to run to the toilet, so we're going to be, a bit of suspense before this final map.
Maybe we don't like Ike.
Maybe he's getting a little bit nervous,
Well, that's it, yeah.
We've seen it before at LAN.
Yeah, we have seen it before, but no, I trust that Ike will be back. And he'll be
You'll trust that
raring
he's
to go.
back? That'd be good if he did actually
if he
come back.
came back,
Yeah.
I don't know who they have on their substitute, but I don't think he's Ike,
Ike
Ike
tier.
tier.
Maybe
Yeah.
Smash can step in.
Well,
How's your Zaya?
Top 500 in Season 2, so there you go.
Gee, that's an achievement, mate. I was ranked 67 in Season 1, so, look, that's probably my best achievement in Overwatch.
No, top 500 in Season 2.
If yours is
giving
top
him some of
500
the
Season 2, that's a long time ago. Probably not
more than 10 seasons ago.
Not quite where you want to be.
As I'm reminded constantly by anybody who sees the icon that I'm using.
Yeah.
Like, you did that about 14 seasons ago, right?
And then you're like, yeah, I'm OG, dude.
Yeah,
I was playing this
exactly.
game before it was cool.
Exactly. All of these Legacy players, young, never played in Season 2.
Unfortunately, it doesn't make you cool, Smash.
It doesn't make me anything.
No, I
Except for
actually
an
think...
intelligent
I mean,
person.
Overwatch is not that old. Even if these Legacy guys are fairly young, quote-unquote young, I'm sure they would have been playing it. back
No,
in the
I
day
don't think
came out.
most of them were, or maybe they were playing very casually, but
Yeah,
there's a lot
that's-
of new players that have come through the last maybe 8 or 9 seasons of Overwatch.
Yeah.
They missed the glory days,
The
as
first
far as
couple
I
of
live it.
Well,
But
that was my glory days as well, man. I
Yeah.
played a lot in, season 1 to 4, maybe, I think it was.
if these new kids saw that old Roadhog, they'd be terrified.
They would be,
They would
certainly.
absolutely
The
terrified.
old soldier with the macro, the old McCree,
Yep.
that got changed in beta though, didn't it? Before the game got released.
it was before Ranked came out, but it was
Alright.
in Quick Play when there was no Ranked.
Good old quick play. I remember those days.
Yep.
Trying really hard in quick play to keep my win rate up.
You had the old untitled spreadsheet stack with
Yeah.
Gunber and RQT running around.
Anyway, we do head into Busan, and well, for both teams, essentially a must-win map if they want the series. Things are looking a little bit more grim for the likes of Legacy than they are for Mindfreak. I think you'd be feeling pretty confident going into this one as the MF guys, but Legacy have time and time again surprised us. Is there an opportunity to do it once more?
Oh, of course there is, and now they've got their focus. They're on the upswing. They just full held them. Everything's going in the way of Legacy. They get a nice map to Mecha base. This is one of the points that there've been different compositions coming out.
Yep.
The May is quite popular here, so this could be a composition that leans towards Legacy's off-meta picks, I guess. But if Mindfreak run out with a Pharah DPS composition here, I'll be very, very surprised.
I would be a little bit as well, although we have seen it a little this season actually.
Yeah, we
The
have.
Pharah.
It's just on this map, it's quite difficult to play. I'd expect it on the other 2 maps, a bit more easier to play, but this
Looks
is
like
more
your gaming setup at home.
I wish that.
Seen that picture on Twitter.
Yeah. Not quite.
The
as
old
team.
fold-up picnic chair and the trestle table.
That was a $6 chair, by the way.
Economic.
Dollar
Ladies,
value, I don't know that.
if anyone's out there, you can hit up Smash on Twitter. He's an economic finance manager. Attractive man and Overwatch Contenders caster.
I attempt those things, but wouldn't call myself a professional just yet. As the Sombra composition from Mindfreak will take first capture of the point. Ike is fallen asleep somewhere. And
On the toilet.
well, I hope it will.
Might fall in. Well, here comes Legacy for their real first contest. Perhaps the first fight of Busan. Nice hack on to Noosh. He's going to make life a lot easier for Kiki to put damage on in here, but Bus is going to be the first player to fall in the engagement. Legacy have actually flipped the point as well, so it's time for Legacy to just... well, for Mindfreak really to just let this one go.
Yeah, and I think Mindfreak aren't going to be too happy coming back on this. Trying to recontest as this composition, you really need some luck to go your way, like a Widowmaker headshot or something, but this is going to be a lot easier for the side. Yeah, here we go. They are going to swap it up. Yeah, it's a rare composition to see the DPS coming out on the mecha-based portion of Busan, but they did manage to get 17% out of it, but now they've kind of set themselves up. Yeah, they've kind of set themselves up to fail. A big EMP is needed out of August here. If Lab can dodge it and get the Coalescence off, it could be quite difficult. And he manages to do just that.
It's a very nice Coalescence as well. Look at it going straight through the entire Legacy roster, through the entire Mindfreak roster, but how much of an effectiveness does it really have against the composition that Mindfreak is running? Well, not a whole lot. Lots of heals coming out for them. The real damage there. So you might as well call that Coalescence a bit of a non-factor. Stolen pick, however, is not one of those as August drops early. Ike is going to get a bit of a boost from the wall there as it goes straight up as the grab is thrown. And then throws a couple of the players into the air. Now Stolen Picnic looking for Kiki, doing damage to that Brigitte, helped out by Noosh. Once again, another fight will go the way of a Legacy. This is how they want to start things off.
Certainly is. They don't have the Shatter and EMP combo together. Bus takes out Rani somehow. Interesting. But now Legacy have a big ultimate bank. They have Lab going back to spawn. No, he's decided to stay. It's a bit too late to go back to spawn, I think. But I mean, Mindfreak have the compositional matchup, you should say, but they don't have the ultimate matchup, and Legacy have been playing very well so far at this point.
This is the kind of round that you need to convert as Legacy. That's pretty good. It's only a one-man shatter, but that's enough. Probably even wins the fight here for Legacy. Well done from Fundray. Even blocks the shatter of Bus. Now certainly looking much better as Bus goes charging almost off the map, almost what we all wanted to see, but does survive for the moment, and so too does Spundray. Down to 55 HP for a moment, but straight back into things. Now Coalescence from Lab as he starts to get involved in the engagement. There's a Graviton Surge now from Mindfreak as well. Basta, Addy, Anki, they're all doing the damage, and finally, Mindfreak is going to win a fight. They keep it alive here on Mecha Base, and Legacy have to go back for a second attempt.
And they desperately needed that. They have the ultimates now to hold for the full duration too. They have the EMP, the Earth Shatter next fight. They still have the sound barrier to ensure their safety as well. Lab going on to the Ana now. Legacy going to need something big out of him. Maybe a big sleep dart on August, maybe a big sleep dart on Bust. But this is going to be a hard fight to win for the side of Legacy.
Yeah, this is going to be an EMP straight across from
I was trying to save his Earth Shatter. He might be a bit greedy in doing this, but I don't think it's going to work out.
Yeah. Like you said, there's going to be a very difficult one there for Legacy. It was a good EMP from August. Very economic fight as well for Mindfreak. That's what they need to do to get back into things. And Legacy, they might just be feeling as though they've let this chance slip because it's starting to look more and more favourable for Mindfreak.
It's quite a difficult choke to break as well. Bust is going to play very aggressive here.
Well, Graviton Surge down as well. It's a good shatter from Bast, but perhaps not enough to win the fight. August is actually going to get Fundray, so may have spoken too soon. Now Bast charging on in, won't be able to do a whole lot of damage, but he's done enough. Legacy will just back away. One more fight attempt here from Legacy. They did burn a lot of ults from Mindfreak there, though. Self-destruct, Earth Shatter, that's enough to get them out of the choke, potentially to get them onto the point. But to deal with the Graviton Surge, they have nothing. They have no defensive support. It's not even a rally.
They sold them the fake too. They managed to get onto the point, managed to dodge that early hold. And here comes the Graviton Surge out of Addy. He only catches Fundray. They managed to get the Biotic Grenade on him too. They managed to keep him alive for so long. He's getting pinballed around. Kiki goes down. Bust with the Nano Boost now is going to try and clean up. Ike is next on the menu, I believe, but he's just being able to get there, and he gets the Nano Boost.
Sleep Dunk goes on through, doesn't really do a whole lot. Now Ike trying to get involved in the mix up to 97% of his energy. Puts more damage into Mindfreak, but he's really losing numbers around him. Has to continue to contest the point. The EMP going through from August. Surely that is going to be the nail in the coffin for Legacy. Bust with the Earth Shatter down. Rani's doing some work on the Doomfist. How does he always manage to get that? Oh, Smooko just survives, sliding on up the stairs, but Rani is still here. Finally gets Graviton surged onto the point, finally gets finished off, and Mindfreak, they've got to be thinking here that this is over.
Yeah, and I think they've escaped just in time here. Players spilling onto the point still, the Wrecking Ball, the Traces coming
very low.
Bust is just kiting and kiting. He's trying so hard to take down. He gets the Fire Strike, I thought, Ike, the pesky Tracer, and in comes Rani once more. The hero gets 2 kills earlier, but just wasn't enough, and I think Mindfreak might have escaped with one there. They shouldn't. It was really risky for them rolling out on that DPS competition. It really punished them too, but they managed to take it back and get that beautiful ult cycle in that choke point. That really saved it for them. Now they're 1-0 up, 1 Koth point away of closing this series out. Legacy, can they come back though? Surely. We haven't seen the final twists and turns of this series just yet.
Yeah, I mean, I think this would be a disservice if Legacy goes down 0-2 here.
Again, Mindfreak testing the waters on this DPS composition. Addy shaking his head on the Zarya saying, no boys, let's just go out. But he's been convinced. Legacy will find it more difficult to deal with the DPS composition on this map. But so far they've been very, very good at dealing with it, to be fair.
Yeah, true. Addy's just waiting for that shot. Has an opportunity there onto Ike. Rani as well, down to about half HP, but it looks like Legacy will get onto the safety of the point fairly comfortably. Now they'll have to deal with the artillery barrage from above. That's Kiki and Swilko. Noosh goes up into the air to try and cause some pressure on their side. Wrecking Ball throws himself onto the point with a pile driver. Rani's really, really low, but they want the prize that is the Ana, and Lab can't do anything about that. What a fast rocket barrage charge from Kiki. You gave him a bit of slack for this one at the start of this match, Smash, but once again, it's being fairly successful for Mindfreak.
He's shooting tanks, but no, that was very well played. They used the angles correctly there. They waited out for the Diva Matrix, and then they managed to hover low enough to get the pressure out. They also survived Noosh using his aggression.
Does that translocator even go up there?
Yes, it does.
I'm impressed. I've never seen
There's a little ledge there you can use to sit your Widow up on, sit your translocator up on, and it's quite powerful.
I guess I haven't played enough Busan.
It's pretty fun to play Widow.
I'm not much of a Widow player, I'll be honest.
But they will go to the coast route here, which is very dangerous considering the wrecking ball, but they managed to get in. They're getting EMP'd though,
that's a big EMP as well. The pile driver was great from Bass. Really wants to finish this one off cleanly, I think, for Mindfreak. And if there's nothing else, this is going to be a nice little stagger.
Oh, okay, he doesn't go for the headshot. He just tries to stagger more. All right, discipline from Maddie.
That's fine.
Yeah, no, it is perfectly fine. But again, Legacy Esports not in the greatest position of ults. They need to get this high charge on Ike, manage to sustain on the point, make Mindfreak come to them and take them off the point.
This is becoming all too familiar territory for Legacy, isn't it? Down 50%.
Kiki's going to have another barrage this fight.
Potentially the final round on Busan, potentially the final map. Another 3-2 loss for Legacy. They'd be thinking, what kind of a curse? What have we done to deserve this?
He's not lost.
He wants the mines as well. And it's going to be the rocket barrage to follow it up. Explosions everywhere. But it's Kiki that gets the reward. And what are you even going to do against that as Legacy? What can you do against that?
The nano barrage mines, you're just running into death.
Is that a bit of an overinvestment though from Mindfreak?
It could be, but it looks like Legacy will try and swap it up. They've gone to the Genji and the Widowmaker. We saw Rani have a nice play on this Genji on the pole actually. He got a little 3k, it was cheeky just as he swapped to it, but will it be enough now?
Final 15% here for Legacy. Mindfreak getting very close to winning the series, and something needs to happen here. Rani down really low. The dive goes in from Fundray. He's kind of on his own up against multiple targets. Is he too isolated here? It looks like he's probably going to go down off the back of the bio nade that connects from Aki. So one player lost already for Legacy. EMP now to make their job even more difficult as Lab tries to survive against Kiki. Noosh can't get the defense matrix just up in time. Self-destruct goes across. Maybe we'll get a chance here from Legacy off the back of that. Maybe not though, as no pick comes across and Kiki is still being really unharassed up in the sky there.
Bus found his way off the map there, and now Kiki will reset to Swilko, goes and joins him, and yeah, running straight back to spawn. He knows that they're going to swap to goats. They did this on the pole, so he knows, and he's going back. This is going to be hard though, because they're going to be in a positional disadvantage.
Is this the same mistake that they make on Nepal, where they swap back off on Village?
Everybody is dry on ults this fight. There's 0 ults on the board, 12 players on their Goats vs Goats heroes, no ultimates, and well, they are playing the Sombra version of the Goats on the Mindfreak, so they are going to be a little bit slower. So Legacy could walk away with a fight win here if they find the right aggression, but they're being corralled into a corner, and that's not really where you want to be.
Which almost gets booped off there. Did have the boosters, I'd imagine. Regardless, the longer this fight goes, the better it is for Mindfreak. 48% onto that EMP. They're playing the long game here, as you say. Once that EMP comes up, it might well be done for Legacy. They need to get something. They need to get it quickly.
The internet comes out. And Bush is going to lose his mech here. He's getting chased down by August. He's so very low. He's just knocked out. Now the EMP is back up.
The cap almost went back across to Mindfreak. That really would have been bad. EMP, that certainly is going to be bad here. It's Mindfreak now looking to finish the map off. Fundray down first. Aki on the Zenyatta gets a headshot onto Lab, and this might well be it done once again for Legacy. They're going to face that bitter defeat in an overtime. Mindfreak are just too strong here on Busan. And Noosh in a last desperate attempt on that Diva. Fundray the same with the Wrecking Ball. He'll get on the point only to land straight into an Earth Shatter. And that will be Mindfreak with a 2-0 on Busan and a 3-2 victory over Legacy today. Once again for Legacy, just so close, yet so far.
It's so heartbreaking to see, you know, they're so close. Even on the Koth map went 99 on the first map, and now this one went to something like 80 to 99. Yeah. It's just so devastatingly close for this side of Legacy, but don't be disheartened because, you know, you have had that rough draw at the start, and, you know, two map series wins, and, you know, you're looking good for playoffs. So yeah, with that map differential, I can see them being a playoffs team. Yeah, you definitely could. It's just a case of if they can actually get those series of victories, which has been so elusive for them throughout every season of Contenders. So far, they've only got the one, which was over Atletico last season, but 3 tiebreaker losses. They've taken maps off Sydney Drop Bears. They've taken a map off Warriors as well this season. So much work is being done by Legacy just for so little reward. It really feels unfortunate. But I gotta say, I feel like this Legacy is looking better than they did last season. They're looking better as the weeks go by. Really taking it to these teams that we would expect to beat them a little bit more comfortably than they are. So, yeah, you say that. And there is definitely some light at the end of the tunnel for Legacy. It's just a case of how long that tunnel is going to be. Oh, certainly. There is definitely no question that this Legacy roster is looking a lot better than last season. You know, you went in last season, you were like, okay, well, I mean, this could be a 4-0, this could be pretty quick, but they've shown so much fight this season and so much improvement, and now they're hanging with the big dogs pretty consistently. Like, you look at a Legacy match every week and you look, they're good for at least a map.
Yeah. That was really a struggle for Mindfreak as well, but they do get the win on the board, so they sort of join that winners club again. 3 teams now having 3 wins, which is Warriors, Ground Zero, and now Mindfreak. Warriors still with a match to play this week, and one that may well put them at 4-0 to keep them quite comfortably in first place, which is probably our expectation of where they may well end up at the end of this season. But for Warriors, for Ground Zero, and for Mindfreak, they've got to be sitting pretty now. They've got to be feeling, okay, we've got our 3 wins, we probably make it to playoffs, bare minimum, you know, 6th place, which is really not where you'd want to be at the end of the season if you're here now, but at least you're sort of secured in that safety net. And the teams that you look below them, so the likes of Sydney Drop Bears, the likes of Order, those are the ones sort of chasing the top of that pack, and they're not really having the seasons that they would want.
Certainly not having the starts of the seasons that they'd want, and Mindfreak and Ground Zero, congratulations today. You put yourselves ahead of the pack. That's where you want to be. Be interesting to see if they can match the pace of the Warriors as the season goes on, though.
Well, just a few more things to catch up on before we do end the broadcast, Smash. We've, of course, got another Macca's play of the game. It's Legacy and Mindfreak, and you're going to love this one, Smash. It's your boy, Kiki on Farah.
Beautiful rocket barrage combination coming out here. Right as they reach the apex of this, they knocked up in the air. They're clueless, and they just pelted with the rockets from Marcus Kiki Jacobs. What a star player he's becoming for this Mindfreak roster. That's a big upgrade from last season. You know, they look a lot more, I don't know, confident.
Dynamic, perhaps, as well.
Yeah, dynamic.
The ability for Mindfreak to kind of swap around these different compositions is a major asset, as is something like we've said about Ground Zero, for example. The same for Warriors. So I think you're starting to see a bit of a trend here with the teams that are toward the top end of the standings being the teams that are able to adapt to the new meta. They're able to adapt to what their opponent is doing, more importantly as well, throughout the game. They're able to throw in standard 3-3 goats. They're able to throw in Sombra goats. They're able to throw in these DPS compositions. They're throwing in bunker. They're able to kind of do it all.
Yeah, it's definitely what you've been seeing. Is like the strongest teams with the flex tanks that, you know, move around, they kind of adapt and they mold to what the team needs. They're the teams that are being successful, and I think you'll continue to see that, especially towards the later end of the season where compositions, you know, become a bit more refined. Maybe there's going to be different metas on different maps, but at the moment we're seeing some really interesting stuff coming out from the teams, and it's refreshing from last season, that's for sure.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's definitely a refreshing change this season for the likes of Mindfreak and Ground Zero as well, where last season obviously Mindfreak was really fighting for a position in the playoffs, and Ground Zero was kind of nowhere